Every GI, every dietitian, every well-meaning Facebook post says the same thing: eat small meals. But for some of you, it's actually making things worse. Hi, I'm Kate, and today we're talking about the actual physiology behind that advice and the two specific situations where following it can make it work against you. I think we first became aware of this with my husband post-op after his first resection. What the hospital discharge sheet said about eating was small meals. Now, we realised that what they were actually saying was small meals forever, and that it wasn't a plan, it was just a placeholder. And a patient in remission of mine was still grazing all day, still symptomatic, and her food diary looked, I guess, a little bit confusing for the simple fact that she was in remission. So what we did was we transitioned into 3 meals, having a 4-hour break, and suddenly those symptoms disappeared. So here's what I want you to hold on to for this whole video. Small meals, well, they're a flare phase tool. They were designed for a gut under active inflammation, slower motility, narrowed passages, a digestive system that genuinely cannot handle volume. And that context matters enormously. A 2020 review in the journal Nutrients found that meal frequency and size directly influence intestinal transit time and luminal pressure, both of which are clinically relevant in Crohn's. But those parameters change when your disease state changes. The advice was never meant to be a life sentence, and treating it as one can create a whole new set of problems. So the physiological case for small meals: active Crohn's disease changes gastric emptying, motility, and luminal pressure, and smaller meals, smaller volume, genuinely reduces mechanical stress on a gut that is inflamed or narrowed. And notice I said inflamed or narrowed. So if you have a stricture or you're at risk of a stricture during a flare, what happens when a large volume of food meets that narrowing? Narrow, big pot of food, what happens? It can't go through. The other thing is bacterial overgrowth. Small frequent meals keep substrate consistently available in the small intestine, which can feed bacterial overgrowth and worsen bloating, gas, and motility symptoms. So I had a patient whose afternoon bloating only resolved when she introduced a 4-hour eating window. Second profile, remission, gut hypersensitivity in functional symptom remission. But constant grazing reinforced their gut hypersensitivity. The nervous system never got a quiet period to recalibrate its signaling threshold. So the food diary patient, how spacing meals changed their symptoms within 2 weeks. So walk through the practical markers that help you decide and your care team identify whether you are genuinely in a high mechanical stress phase or post-inflammation functional phase, because that is critical. The high mechanical stress phase is where you do need those small frequent meals, but the post-inflammation functional phase, you can space it out. My son's eating pattern looked, I guess, in active phase. Yes, small meals often, but it now, as I think I've mentioned previously, he fasts from 4 o'clock in the afternoon until 5 o'clock in the morning. Nothing goes into his stomach. And also you need to have the conversation about transition. So what you need to ask your GI when your symptoms have stabilized, and frame it as a review of the eating structure, not an abandonment of your medical advice. So you just need to say, should I still be continuing with my 6 small meals now I am not in active disease? So you've been in remission so many months. Let's look at whether the meal structure still fits. That's what you need to be asking. So my husband, after 20 years being flare-free, he does not have 6 small meals, but he doesn't have 3 huge ones either. You need to know when to stop. And it looked like for our family, I think we realized that the 6 meals were actually causing symptoms because we had no inflammation, we were in remission, but we were still symptomatic, and that sometimes is a little bit of a plan. So the realistic picture for most people in stable remission is you can work toward a more normal eating rhythm. Now, do it with guidance, not guesswork. So if you found this useful, the next step is go to the link in my bio and you can find my Crohn's Nutritional Foundation Guide. And if you want to go deeper on the bacterial overgrowth piece, we've got a video coming soon. So don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss it. I'll see you in the next video. Have a beautiful day.